What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Mythic Conversations. I'm your host, Jeremy Gerard. As you know, if you watch the show, Mythic Legion's collector and customizer, and I have the distinct privilege of being the director of sales and marketing for Four Horsemen Studios. I'm here in my office tonight, which is a sure sign that I'm being lazy. It's a sure sign that I didn't want to set all the gear up in the toy room, so I'm here instead. The actual truth is there's been a ton going on. I've been crazy busy with stuff, and I didn't have anything really planned for tonight. Not that there's not a lot going on in the world of Legions, of course. It's just I've been so focused on a bunch of other stuff that I didn't have a chance to really figure out what to do tonight. So what did I do? I called in the big guns. I called in the Lord himself, returning triumphantly to Mythic Conversations. Here we've got Lord Stephen Bushotee. Stephen, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm well. I'm well, Stephen. You know, making lemonade here because I had nothing to talk about tonight, and I just said, you know what? I just need to have a chat. I just need to have a conversation. Let me talk to Stephen. And when I reached out to you, I just did it because you're one of my go-to people that I know we can just talk for 90 minutes, no problem. But I realized how long it's been since the two of us have actually had a chance to talk and connect. We've both been kind of busy with, different things going on. So, Stephen, I'm incredibly happy to have you here tonight.
Well, thanks. It's good to be back. I know you've been away. You were on vacation. You were touring my properties in Scotland.
I went to Scotland, which is you are a real Scottish lord. So I was in your neck of the woods.
Yeah. So I got good feedback on you from Scotland. They were keeping me informed. They said you conducted yourself with honor while you were there.
Thank you.
You passed all the tests. Everything's cool. You in Scotland we're okay. We're A-okay.
That is absolutely wonderful. I'm happy to hear that they approved of my conduct there in Scotland.
Me too, because I did not want to have that conversation.
It would have been awkward for sure. That's great, Steve. Well, we've got a number of things to talk about tonight. As I said, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world of Legions and around the world of Legions. So we're going to get to a number of those things. I'll lead the conversation and we'll talk about it. But one of the first things I do want to address tonight, only so I don't get hit in the comments about it, obviously the Mythic Legion's tactics figures continue to ship. Stephen, I know you've got yours. We'll talk about that, a little bit. But there are two things that have happened with those figures that I want to address very, very quickly. Number one, there's a very small number of orders. There's been a problem where apparently people were supposed to get a female elf and a female orc, but they instead got two female elves. It's a data transfer problem that it came through incorrectly. If that happens to you, please reach out to the game team. It's Mythic Legions Games at mythiclegionsgames@gmail.com. Reach out to the game team. Let them know about the problem so they can track that and get that fixed for you. Don't accept that. We're going to get that fixed for you. So that's one of the common things, or not common, but one of the things that we're hearing of, like I said, a small people have. The second thing is totally aware of what's been going on with some of the signed 2-packs. Some of the people that were supposed to get signed 2-packs because they were Forge founders were not shipped the signed 2-packs. Totally aware of the issue. We're figuring out now exactly what the next steps are to correct this issue. So I don't have a solution to offer today. All I can say is we are well aware of the issue and we are working behind the scenes to figure out how we're going to solve it.
There it is.
What you can do, right?
For now.
I figure we're going to get those questions, so let's address that right up front.
Yeah.
So you were a backer. You have your figures in yet?
Today.
Today they came in.
Yep, I came home and had a nice box sitting on my doorstep. I have not opened any packaging. I've opened up the box, taken a quick look. They look beautiful. They look awesome.
Awesome.
I really was, it's funny because I was really excited about Leodicius. I just thought he was super cool.
Yeah.
I was excited about having the unhelmeted head. I love the flare that they gave him, and so excited about that hammer.
Yep.
And but when I pulled that 2-package out, I gotta say, in hand, Gorgo steals the show.
Oh, I love Gorgo. I've long said whenever anyone asks me what my favorite figure in the line is, and you have the same thing where you obviously want to say Lord Bushotee. I want to say Sir Gerard. But the truth is, for me, I tend to go to Gorgo because that was the figure. I remember seeing that black armored knight with the antlers on the helmet in that first Kickstarter. That was the first one that I was like, I need that figure. So it's really hard for me to not choose that one. And looking at Gorgo 2, it's such a great representation. It's such a great new version of that character that I agree with you. It steals the show.
Yeah. And I watched Dorklayer did a good review of the 2-pack.
I haven't seen it yet.
Very nice. He had those suckers posed up back to back, and it was impressive. He did a good job.
They look good.
You got to endorse his posing abilities in that. So, very fun.
Yep. I will tell people, I know a number of people said they kind of had hoped that Gorgo was going to get an unhelmeted head in that pack. It was close. It was close. It was considered. And it was decided that, storyline wise, it made more sense that it didn't make sense to drop that just yet.
Did you see it?
It doesn't exist. The idea, like in the conceptual stage of should we give Gorgo an unhelmeted head, that was what was discussed. That idea was thrown out there and it was considered and then put aside to say, no, it's not time yet.
So did you discuss what it would be?
That I can't talk about.
I have to ask.
Well, I told you.
That's what people want to know. I mean,
I told you as soon as
there wasn't a sketch. There wasn't a.
As soon as I came on full time, that's one of the first things. Is I sat down with Eric and I said, "Okay, tell me all the secrets now." Now that I'm writing the book, which I will tell you that the past 2 weeks, I've made some major milestones, some major movements on the book. It's progressing really, really well from a content standpoint. So having to, know the story, I definitely asked for all of the deep, dark secrets and was very pleased.
Ooh.
Yeah, Joe Vasabolo saying, Jeremy, you tease. That's what we do.
Yes, I know. It's so lame that you just can't tell us everything.
Yeah, I definitely love the 2-pack. I have Attila with the helmet off. As much as I like the helmet, that unhelmeted head, the sculpture is just so cool. It's so expressive that you have to display it like that.
Really? You have to display the unhelmeted head?
On Attila? Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's cool too is when you open it up, you'll notice that the helmeted head, the new gimmick is the front of the helmet comes off.
Yep.
And then it's just a little faceplate. So you can pull the helmeted head, you can pull the front off, remove the faceplate, and put the helmet back on. It ends up being like a little gold, like kind of backer piece there, so it doesn't look like it's empty. But if you position it the right way, it can almost look like the empty helmet. So you can kind of make it so he's got, he's almost got too much stuff, because if he's got the unhelmeted head on, he's got to hold that hammer. If you want him to hold the helmet as well, but then what do you do with the shield? He's got to hold that. So it's like there's almost too many pieces that you're like, I don't know what to put on him.
So I'm one of the lucky ones that has the original, like you do. So I probably will put the unhelmeted head on the original.
Oh,
and then I have that look, and then because the new helmet sculpt is, it's more like the mane is more like fluffy or spiky or flared or whatever you want to say. That it just looks cool.
And you're gonna put the smiling face on him, right?
Probably.
Yeah, happy Attila.
Happy Attila. He's he's a happy cat.
He is. Happy Attila's a good guy. So excited about that. Other stuff going on. Let's talk a little bit about one of your friends right now, because this is something exciting that is happening. You longtime friends with a gentleman named Matt Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I almost wanted to do the
Rodriguez. Yeah, that's Matt.
So Matt, longtime friend of your show, he was at Legions Con last year with his company Ideas for Mars, and he actually debuted his new toy line, Armies of Ashmore, which is from his larger storyline, his comic series, Defenders of Eden. So he revealed that, and these were these chunky, almost like ogre scale dinosaurs. And behind the scenes, I know you had seen those. I had seen them as well, because Matt actually hired Four Horsemen Studios to work on this project, to do the, obviously he created all these designs as part of his comic series. Four Horsemen Studios were hired to do the sculptures, do all the prototype printing, paint all those prototypes, which Matt had on the table at Legions Con. So there is a, studio connection there. Being very clear, these are not Four Horsemen Studios products. These are not being, shipped by us or anything like that. But between that work there, and at least as of now, the plan is that these will be produced. Chris is going to project manage this, and these are going to be produced in Four Horsemen Studios factories over in China. So Matt just kicked off his new campaign, his new Kickstarter, and he's doing absolutely wonderful. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Now, you've got to play with these. You've got to handle these figures, correct?
Yeah. Yes, I have. They're super cool, man.
They're so much fun.
I mean, when the horsemen have sculpted them, you expect that they're going to be awesome, and they didn't disappoint. It's very funny, I met Matt 7-8 years ago, and even at that time, this was on his mind. It was more than on his mind. He had already had another set of hand sculpted figures that were prototypes that he was going to try to get made. At that time, it was kind of a thing we thought would happen a lot sooner than it did. Much smaller figures, much more I want to say He-Man-esque, the way that they were built. And I think as times grew, by the time he actually got closer, I think it just needed to be, it was a little bit of an update, and they're amazing, and it's so cool to see this come to fruition, because he has had this, in the works for so long. It's definitely, it's a true labor of love that he's been trying to do forever.
So again, a number of connections here. I just showed that there's going to be some packaging art from Nate Barch as well. Fun little thing. Joe Vassapolo is in the chat here, and Joe is saying these are so much fun. So this character here, Vasapo, was actually named in honor of Joe Vassapolo.
Yeah.
And this one here, Cuso, was named after Bill Mancuso at the studio as well. And then I heard today, is this one named after Thomas Ryberg?
It appears so, because I saw that today as well. You know,
Wow.
I think it's funny. He knows these guys for 2 seconds. There's no Bushotee. You know, I've been around for 8 years in this guy's life, helping and supporting, pushing his stuff, buying his comics, doing all this stuff, and these guys he met last summer or something.
So because there's no Bushotee,
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite of this group?
I do, and it wouldn't be my favorite if I hadn't seen them in person.
Okay.
But I don't know their names yet, so you got to scroll around.
Okay.
I know we just looked at them. Okay, keep going. Keep going. Nope, there he is. Kuzo.
Yeah, he's my favorite too.
Yeah, he's the best.
That's the one named after Bill Mancuso.
Yeah. Lucky.
Yeah,
guy.
He's obviously got that mask that kind of comes up and down. I think the only thing I'm gonna do with him is I'm gonna paint, because he has like actual painted eyes, and I really like them without the painted eyes, with just the single color.
They're like solid colored eyes.
I like the solid colored eyes, which this one here, this wizard looking one, Milwick, that character, because it's a mage, has single colored eyes. And it's just totally like the painted eyes are done wonderfully well, of course. It's a 100% personal preference. I just like the single painted eyes. So that's the one thing I'll probably do on Cuso. Milwick is actually my second favorite.
Milwick is really cool. He's just, the long neck is just,
yeah.
I mean, how do you not like that?
It's cool.
I'm very excited. I'm excited for all of these. General Saros I really love, because I know a little. I've read the Defenders of Eden comic, and you know he's kind of a big character in that story.
Yep.
Has a lot of backstory. Matt has a lot of cool things about the development of that character from years ago. When he gave it to CJ Edwards, I believe, took Matt's idea and brought that into fruition. So cool. Super cool, man. It's, there's not a bad one in the bunch.
No, it's really cool. And there's also the Kickstarter exclusive. Let's see, this one here, the Albino Infantry Warrior, which I hadn't seen that previously. That was one that wasn't at Legion's Con last year. So I was thrilled when I saw that, because I really, really dig that color style.
It's very unique. It's very cool. Like I said, that one, I don't know, that might be a render. I don't know if that actually exists in painted form. I don't, but, so I have not seen it either, except for this picture in person.
Yep.
But if it's anything like the other ones, it's just like we talk about Mythic Legions. When you get these, I got to sit and kind of babysit Matt's booth. He had his annual Comic-Con, local Comic-Con here in Michigan, Tulip City, Holland. It's where he's from. And since Matt's running the show, he's pretty busy. So I was able to sit there with his figures and kind of explain to people what they were and try to spread the love and maybe pick up a couple Kickstarter backers. And so I'm sitting there and I've got all of these right in front of me. And they're just like Legions.
Steven, I got to stop you. Eric LeBron just said something that I didn't realize. Is Milwick a nod to Emil Wickman?
I'm going to say yes, but I don't know if it's true.
So both of the Swedes may have gotten tribute figures in this line.
Ugh.
Wow. That's...
Yeah. And I introduced them.
That's big, Steven. That's big.
Jeez.
I'm sorry to interrupt. That was just...
No.
That was a breaking news. I had to reveal that. I had to say that. So you got to babysit the booth. You got to play and see the figures up close and personal.
Well, you know how it is with prototypes. There's not much playing with them, but more like gently turning them around and looking at them from different angles and having fun. Now, the one that you've seen, you were kind of scrolling around there, which is kind of posed. That's one I actually got to work on, which is pretty fun. The one that's not painted, but he's on that stand. That was fun, and that was also there for people to see. There he is. Yeah. So that's cool. That's Wolf King Customs actually printed those parts, and then I was able to kind of assemble them. I put pins in the joints and stuff, and filled holes with putty, and got it so it was kind of, you can kind of move it around a little bit. It's still very fragile. It's not even together at the waist there, or at the torso cut. Yeah. So I mean, it's definitely not. Yeah. You can't play with it, but you can get some cool poses out of it and stuff, and that was really fun.
Well, a couple of people were asking about the sizes and stuff. I know that Matt refers to them as brute scale, but I genuinely feel, having seen them in the studio, I really feel like they're closer to ogre scale.
I think they are closer to ogre.
In the thickness, they're just so chunky the way that they're actually built, that even if they're a little bit smaller than ogres, because of the chunkiness of them, they really feel like they have that kind of presence.
They may be slightly shorter, but they're definitely, they're bruisers.
Yes. Absolutely. So those who are interested in this, are they compatible with Legions? If you mean, do the parts swap with Legions? No, they're not. They don't have the same build system as Legions do exactly. If you mean, could you put them next to Legions? Yeah, absolutely. They're clearly their own world, but as Travis likes to say, would these display with Legions? Would these fit with Legions? They're definitely a different style, but I don't think that they're so different that you couldn't put them next to each other.
No, I think you could.
Well, especially too, because they're beastly characters. They're dino characters, but they're anthropomorphic in a way. So the rules for that kind of get changed a little bit, Yeah. So if you want to check this out, if you're interested, it is Armies of Ashmore on Kickstarter right now. As you can see here, they're at $60,000, almost $61,000 of almost 110 that they're looking for. So they're well above 50%. This just launched yesterday at 7 o'clock. So they're just over 24 hours in on this, and they're already at that point. And I mean, you can see right here, manage your pledge. I've pledged 300. So just to start with, I pledged for an all-in. I don't know if I'll get anything else, but I definitely want one of each for myself, and I want to support Matt. So really excited about this. Dorklair's in the comments as well. Dorklair, Bill, you're actually interviewing Matt tomorrow on your channel, I believe. Is that correct? Hit me up in the chat just so to confirm that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. 24 hours in and he's over 50%. Yeah. I'm excited for these.
Curtis actually saying that these are going to go with his cosmic display, which that's kind of cool. I can see that. These being some kind of dino, reptilian type planet that they live on.
What do you think about the customizing capabilities of these, Jeremy? I mean, but the armors, all those armor pieces and shoulder pauldrons come off.
Yep.
So different heads and different ways of setting these up. You could make some.
So
talking about putting some bruisers in your Mythic Legions collection with some customizations.
Yeah. So let's see here. And unfortunately, I can share this tab. There we go. So this character here, Vasapo. So this is the one named after Joe Vasapolo. I love this paint job and stuff, but I'm going to change it as soon as I get it. As soon as I get this, I'm turning this guy into the Fury Clan Dino, because, as you know, the Furious 4 set last year, that was, worked on by myself and Joe. Joe did all the paints on that. Joe seems to be the red and black guy. He did that new Tusk pilot. So because this is, named after Joe, I'm going to turn this guy into True Fury Clan colors.
Nice. And it'll look sweet. I know it will.
Yeah, besides that, I don't know what I'm going to do because I like them so much as is. I really do dig them. So I haven't thought about what else I'm going to customize on them, but I'm sure I'll come up with some ideas.
Yeah. Amazing. Support it, everybody, if you can, because it's, I'm not going to live out my dream of being a toy maker probably ever, so at least maybe I can watch Matt live out his.
Absolutely. So very cool. You can check that out. So Joe is dropping a little secret here in the chat. So Joe, I called him the red and black guy, and he said, I'm about to be the teal and bronze guy.
Wow.
Uh-oh. That's like a little behind the scenes reveal there. A little bit of information.
Huh. Teal and bronze guy.
So congratulations to Matt Rodriguez. Best of luck. Like I said, I'm a backer. I'm excited to get these in hand. And I'm excited to see him at Legions Con again as well. Matt is going to be at Legions Con this year.
So there's a good chance. I think we're doing rooms like last year. There's a good, which was me, Matthew Rodriguez, Emil, and Tomas. So I could be staying in. I could be the only one that really isn't represented in
someone said that line. Earlier. Someone said that earlier that said everyone that Matt Rod shared a room with last year are going to dino named after them except Steven.
Oh, well, see, other people are noticing too.
Maybe Matt thought that because you had the Lord Bushotee that you didn't need a dino named after you.
He knows I need more attention. I can't get enough.
Obviously.
I mean,
I know that.
Attention makes my hair grow.
I know that. Because this hasn't been revealed yet, but the Legions Con Day 2 figure is just a 4-pack of Lord Bushotee figures this year.
Well, there you go.
It's just 4 different Lord Bushotees.
Is one of them shirtless?
They're all shirtless.
Okay.
That was the big problem last year, is that we didn't allow the guns to come out because we had to share that body with Pelvicus. So his little scrawny body was, we couldn't let Bushotee really go out there.
That's probably the number one comment I get about Lord Bushotee.
Yeah.
Is people saying he should have been shirtless.
It should have, and he's got shades too. He's got glasses that he wears, just like a top G.
Just like a top G. Perfect.
It's the first. We have to sculpt those glasses specific for the figure. That's the new part that'll be in it.
Perfect.
All right. So what else is going on? Well, that's a good segue into Legions Con. So last week we revealed the Day 1 Legions Con exclusive, and I covered that on my show last week. Of course, we're talking about Vorgus Vermilius 2, the Blood Armor. Did you get a chance to take a look at that figure?
I did.
What are your thoughts?
Totally surprised me. I don't know if anybody else saw that coming, but I didn't. I did not see that coming. I think it's pretty sweet. I like it. I mean, people know me. I am pretty easy to please when it comes to Mythic Legions. I don't rarely complain. But I mean, it's a sought after figure, even though it's been, I mean, the original 1.0 has even been released in All Stars, I believe, right?
It was part of All Stars too.
That's what I thought. So, even though that's gotten 2 releases, he's still one. Everybody that gets into the line, they find that figure, it seems, and everybody's like, I gotta have that figure, or I gotta try to make that figure, or something. And so, I mean, it was a no-brainer to offer a 2.0 of it, I think. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but I didn't. But you did. So I think he's awesome. And I can't wait to get him in hand.
Yeah. Do you have the first Vorgus?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. I don't have the second one. I didn't grab them in All Stars, but I have the original Vortex.
You have the original. I mean, they are very, very similar. I know that there are differences between the two of them, but as I posted in the article that we wrote last week for Vorgus, there are variations within the run on Vorgus just because of the way that it's painted.
Yeah.
That kind of a paint job lends itself to, it depends who's painting it that day or whatever. Some of them just look a little bit different than others. So they're clearly not, even between the two different releases, they're not dramatically different in my opinion. But this one, I think it's a good update. We were talking earlier about, Gorgo stealing the show for that new 2-pack. And I mean, really, when you look at this figure, it's that Gorgo build, but with, all of these new parts, all of this, the additional spiky parts, obviously the blood armor color, and that crazy cape. So I really do think that this is a worthwhile update on the character.
I think that cape is going to add so much fun to that figure. The way you've got it kind of tenderly, I guess. I don't know.
Yep.
I can't wait to pose that cape around and really make him look creepy and scary, and that's gonna be some fun.
Let's see if I can bring this up here. Let's see. So I'm going to show something that actually hasn't been shown yet.
Oh. Can't wait to see it.
So last week I had mentioned that when CJ originally designed this cape, when he, we kind of told him what we wanted. We gave him some, ideas of what we were looking for. And then he went and he created this cape, and it obviously was meant to go on a Gorgo body. Well, he had a Gorgo body there that we had sent him so he could test out the Gorgo cape. So when he sent us the sample images, it was this cape, but on Gorgo. So when I mentioned that last week on the show, after the show, CJ reached out to me and he said, hey, let me show you what that actually looks like. I think that's kind of cool. So he actually sent it to me, and here's the picture of what it looks like.
See, that's just cool, man.
So that's actually Gorgo with that, that cape there, that blood armor cape. So you can see that if you buy that that blood armor and you decide to use the cape over here, this is what you're going to get.
Super cool.
Isn't that cool?
Very cool.
Very neat.
You got regular price figure, I'm sure, right?
We're still figuring that out.
Or regular regular exclusive pricing, maybe.
We've got to figure out the pricing on it because of the cape. The cape is such a large piece that we're not sure what it's going to come in at. So we're not sure if it's going to be like the $50 price point, or if it's going to have to be a tiny bit more than that. And there, of course, we have the exclusive head that's going to be at Legion's Con, that what I'm calling the consumed red head, or red consumed head.
Which is it translucent?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, it is actually a translucent head. So, like I said last week on my show, we didn't make a conscious decision that we're going to get crazy with the translucent parts. It just happened that way, that blue Hagnon, green Demistros, and this red head here all kind of hit pretty close to each other.
Yeah.
Because what happened was, when we were planning this out, obviously he's got to have this head. He's got to have, the Gorgo style head. This is what the blood armor looks like. And then this particular head was one that had been sculpted but never used. So we were like, hey, that'd be a really cool head to throw on that figure. And we can, it'll kind of look like what a new wearer of the armor might look like, before he's fully consumed. So that was kind of a fun part. And at first we were like, okay, maybe that head is the exclusive one. And we weren't going to put a third head. It was just going to be this head that was the exclusive. But we knew that fans would really, really want to have access to this head. And it looks, like such a good, representation on the figure that's when we said, well, why don't we use the head that's in the Heads Pack head? Because we know a lot of people have that head, but we wanted to do something different with it. So the idea of doing it translucent red, so it's like being consumed, the blood kind of pouring out of it and everything, that's really what the idea behind that head was.
Lovely.
And then obviously these wonderful shots from Trevor. There we go. Look at that. How cool is that?
Very cool. Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. And, I've gone on record and said that I'm more excited for what we have to offer on day 2. Not that I don't love day 1, but I'm more excited for the day 2 reveal.
Ooh. Yeah. Is it big?
You have to wait. You have to wait. You have to wait and see.
I'm just waiting for the year that you do a troll exclusive.
From a logistical standpoint, it would never make any sense. Because you think about how large trolls are,
yeah,
and the amount that we have to bring to Legion's Con.
Well, you got a bigger venue. You can fit more stuff in it.
We're not doing exclusive troll.
Never say never.
That is not going to happen. Yes,
yeah, we'll talk
not
later.
going to happen.
We'll talk about it later.
So on the topic of Legion's Con, we announced this week that the hotel is legit sold out. So rooms may still open because the rooms are cancelable up until like around the showtime. There's always there's always a chance that someone could say, oh, you know what, I booked my room, but I've decided I can't make it. So, I'm going to cancel my room. So some of them could get released. But as of right now, every one of the hotel rooms at that hotel are sold out.
That's impressive. We're over 6 months out, right? Still.
Yeah. And it's gone. So we posted yesterday, I believe, that we secured 2 overflow hotels. So there's 2 hotels. They're both like 4 or 5 minutes away. They're like, a mile and a half or so away from the venue. It's tough because the venue's on a highway. So it's like the other side of the highway. So, it's that whole thing where you got to kind of go around a little bit. But they're definitely not far away at all. And inevitably there's going to be other Legionnaires there. And crazy as it may seem, we negotiated even lower rates for those hotels than we have at the venue hotel. One of the hotels, I think the cheapest room there is $119 that we negotiated.
That's not bad.
No, not at all, to be in that area of New Jersey. So like I told people, if you're waiting, make sure you get on there. The other thing that I'll mention right now as well, I haven't posted this yet. We are now more than 50% sold out of badges for the show.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So last year, we didn't think we'd sell out. And then we got to the point that we were actually getting close to selling out. And when we mentioned that, there was a massive run on the badges and we sold out. We even released more last year and we still sold everything. We intended to have walk-up sales last year and we couldn't do it because we had, like I said, we limit to make sure that we can fit everybody comfortably. Yeah. So bigger venue this year, we can have a lot more attendees, but we are already right now between badges sold and vendors, we have more people coming this year already than we had last year.
Good work, man.
So that's why I tell people, don't wait too long. We're not going to sell out tonight, but don't wait too long. If you want to be at Legion's Con, get those badges.
Yeah.
Legends Collector, I don't have the 2-pack here with me right now, open in the other room, so I can't show you how to put the capes on. But we'll definitely do that some other day.
I can recommend Bill from Dorklayer.
His
His
video shows it
review
well.
shows.
Check out the video from Dorklayer. Awesome. Okay, let's see. I got some comments here that I'm going to go back to. Miguel saying, just tell me this. Are we going to be amazed this November? Is this the best of the line? Is the best of the line yet to come? So, yes, but it depends on what you're into, right? So take the one that we just did. Take the Necronominus wave. If you're not into skeletons or you're not into knights, that wave probably didn't hit too hard for you because it's all skeletons and knights, right? So it really depends what you're into. If you're super into dwarves, the Necronominus wave probably wasn't your favorite wave because you didn't have any dwarves in it. Fair enough? So to answer that question, is this coming one going to be the best one? In many ways, yes, but it depends what you're excited for.
I'm expecting it to be the best for me.
You're going to love it.
Because I don't know anything, but I can tell you my favorite stuff is barbarians. And it seems to me that the Noble Bear and Red Star are the factions left out there to be.
Well, we haven't announced that that's what it is, but we'll see.
So, I'm expecting to have a lot of fun this year. A lot of bare chests. I'm hoping, or a lot of leather, a lot of straps.
Yes,
Stephen. I know. Maybe some fur.
I know what you are alluding to. I know you're good. You're going to be happy this November.
Nice.
People have asked me this. Any reason why Vorgus is called Edgar on the side profile and EdSec on the website? I genuinely don't know that. No, I know that it's true. So when we built the website, I was given a list of bios to put, to just copy and paste to put on the website. My gut tells me that the original bio had him as Lord EdSec, but somewhere before, between the bio being written and the card being produced, they changed it from Lord EdSec to Lord Edgar, and it just was never got updated on, the document that I was given. So my gut tells me that's where the discrepancy is. But until last week when people pointed that out, I genuinely didn't even know there was that discrepancy. Let's see. Going through here. So someone says, it would be cool if the translucent heads weren't used for con-exclusive items, such as the head for Demistros. It's interesting because, number one, you kind of want the con-exclusive item to be something cool because it's the whole point, right? You want people to go to the show. You want to incentivize them. You want to reward people that go. But the other aspect is, as cool as those are, they're super gimmicky. There are some people that just don't like that type of stuff. So putting one of those alternate non-main looks as the con exclusive, I think makes sense as well. What do you feel about that, Stephen?
Look, I am very unsympathetic towards people that in general, but also con-goers that they're that feel slighted because something got added to something and they can't get it because they're not going to the show. I've always just thought of the cost it takes to go to the show, the transportation, the staying in the hotel, all of that stuff. If you want it, buy it secondhand. You're going to pay more, but you didn't have to. And I've said this spiel before many times. You didn't have to get on a plane. You didn't have to jump in a car. You didn't have to get a room. You didn't have to eat. You didn't have to. In my case, you didn't have to spend time with Travis, and so I really feel like and I've done it. I put my money where my mouth is. I've paid for things that I want that I couldn't go to, and I look at I paid $50 more or $100 more, but that pales in comparison to going there. So
Sure.
I think it's a hard thing. Anything you were to put in there, whether it's translucent or not, is somebody's going to really want it and not be able to get
Absolutely.
it.
Absolutely. There's no head you can put in there. There's no item you can put in there that someone's not going to be like, well, that's the one that I wanted, you know.
Yeah.
And like I said, with these, we do try to make them available. We know people want the blood armor too. And instead of making it only a Legions Con exclusive, the fact that there will be a standard release that's 90% of the parts that come in the figure anyway, it's missing just that one head. I think that kind of helps soften the blow because it makes it so at least it is more accessible to more people.
And in my experience, I think you guys have chosen pretty good because most of the exclusives, I don't even use. At least me personally, I don't use the second. Like with Sir Gerard,
Yep.
I don't use
Yep.
the other head. I use the
Yep.
Gorgo head.
Yeah, sure.
Because I actually think it looks cooler.
The one that you got to use is Cody Cat. The
Yes.
Furious Four. You've got to take that cat head and do a Cody Cat. But the Cody, I'll be honest with you. So many people at Legions Con bought 2 of those sets so they could make all 4 characters. If you buy 2 sets, you get 2 sets of Cody Cat parts. I saw so many people that said, hey, I have an extra set of cat parts that I don't need. Trade them off, sell them off, or whatever. There were a lot of people that were getting rid of those.
Sure.
Question we have here, and this is going to be a good segue. Star is saying, Cosmic Legion is sure to have a major presence at Legions Con this year, right? It's my fix. Yes, Cosmic Legions will have a definite presence at Legions Con this year. This will be the first year. Last year, we had both Mythic Legions and Figura Obscura there. This will be the year that we've got all 3 of our lines represented at Legions Con. And Steven, that's a great segue into the current pre-order that's up right now for Cosmic Legions Outpost Zaxius. What are your thoughts on that? Are you, well, first off, let's step back for a minute. You're a Horseman cuck, so you are all in on Cosmic as well, right?
Always. Yep. Yes.
Excellent.
So
We've got the characters here. Now, there are 2 PowerCon characters in this wave, which I know that's right up your alley. You are all about the Motu stuff. Are they your favorites in this wave, or is somebody else like a surprise favorite of yours?
I really love the Manny Faces homage figure.
Yep.
I just think it's done so well. It might be my favorite homage figure that they've done.
It's great.
Because when I saw it, my brain didn't have to think for a quarter of a second, and I knew exactly what it was.
Yeah.
It's just boom, there he is. And that's awesome. But man, the pilot.
It's my favorite. Pilot is my favorite. It's I cannot say this enough. The paint work that Joe did on that, not just the arm. It's funny because that like metallic red armor gets so much attention. But beyond that, it's the whole thing. It's the piping on the pants. It's just, the black of the visor. Every piece of that is so well done.
Yeah. He's super, it's super sharp. And that one, I don't know what it just came together so good.
Yeah.
I'm also a huge Sphexian fan, so I know a lot of people have had to warm to the Sphexians, but I warmed to them immediately when I saw them. Yep. And so the Miner's pretty cool too. And I mean, I gotta say, Whiplash. I know his name's not Whiplash.
Scourge.
Yes, but I mean that's one that I don't see. Even if somebody's not big on the Motu tributes.
Oh yeah,
that's one that doesn't have to. I mean, I don't think you have to even like the Motu tributes at all to love that figure.
today on the 4 o'clock show, they were actually looking at some Pox's test shots, and they had a test shot of a Rakagor, because obviously a Rakagor shares parts here with Scourge, and he actually showed. So those gauntlets that he's wearing, we already have those gauntlets. They're the ones that came on Disabolus, right? So those are removable. He showed the figure without the gauntlets, so it's just full bare arms, and he kind of like had the him like reared back, like with his mouth open, and it looks so incredibly stunning. It was a very different look for the character, and it's immediately I was imagining Scourge and being positioned that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's not, in my opinion, there's not a weak figure in this wave. I like the Sphexians too. The fact that this one comes with both the extra arms and the wings to give you some different display options. I really like the Greyborn. I like that classic alien type look. The paintwork on this one, that robe, absolutely wonderful. And then going back to the earlier pictures here, Callian, I love the layout of that character, and it's got possibly my favorite female head sculpture in the entire line in that Thrace Wraithhaler sculpture, but painted differently. So many people didn't even know that's what it was.
Thrace is amazing. I've always loved that head.
Yeah.
And yeah, we don't even have it in hand yet, and I still love it. But no,
so
it's a great wave.
Let me ask you this then. You've clearly seen some of the comments about, I'm not going to buy wave 3 because I don't have wave 1 in hand, right?
Yeah.
Which is understandable. I mean, I see both sides. As we've said on the show before, Mythic had 34 figures that were solicited in the first Kickstarter before anyone had any in hand. We're not even close to that number in Cosmic, and you kind of know what you're getting since you've got all these years of Mythic to back up the line and everything. But I do get the idea of, I want to see these in hand before I commit any more.
Yeah.
In your opinion, do you think that this wave has that sleeper wave potential to be kind of like that Coliseum type wave that a lot of people decide to go light on or to skip altogether and then kick themselves after because they didn't have them?
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what I was thinking and have thought. I get where you're coming from. If people have that opinion, that they're that idea that they don't want to put down money for, when they haven't gotten wave 1 yet or whatever. I get it, but I don't recommend it. I don't recommend that you sleep on this wave because as you were alluding to, we know, try to get your hands on an Unkin right now.
Nope.
And Unkin was in 1.5, and that was truly, because that was before we got the very first wave in hand. They had already solicited.
I believe so, yep.
Yes, and the Trolls, I believe.
Yep, the Trolls as well, yeah. Yeah, Trolls were in that 1.5 wave.
Yes, so I was one of the people, and I'm sure were too, that did get those figures, and I watch people try to track those down all the time, and they're hard to get because people, and then that time I think you were honestly taking more. Well, you were taking more of a chance for sure but I don't look at this as a wave 1 of anything. It's Mythic and it's separate than Legions, but we've got how many waves of Legions? We know what the Horsemen give us for quality. Yep. We know that if there are problems, they fix them. It's not much of a gamble, so I wouldn't recommend sleeping on it.
I will say this. The people that are deciding to wait, I don't know if they are waiting because I don't think they have any apprehensions about the Horsemen delivering or even apprehension about the figures being good. Their apprehension may be whether or not they like them. Their apprehension may be, I don't know if I'm going to actually want Cosmic Legions, because let's be honest, there's a lot of people that came into Mythic. High fantasy is what they're excited about. So now that we're going to this new universe and we're doing the science fiction type stuff, there are some people that are like, you know what? This is not something I would normally get, but I love the designs. I love the Horsemen. I love Legions. Let me give it a shot. So if that's what you're concerned about, I very, very much understand how that would be apprehension.
Here's what I say: if you get these and don't like them, good, because I sure wish I didn't like my Unkin because I could use an extra $900.
Well, that's the other thing is if you do the pre-order, it is, obviously you're paying up front, but it's the lowest you're going to pay. The minute the pre-order is done, those $37 figures are $50 figures. They're not going to be $37 again. So if you get this in hand and decide these aren't for me, you should have no problem turning these around and getting your money back.
Exactly. Yep.
But regardless, this pre-order ends this coming Sunday. For those who have been around for a while, they know those days of Corn Boy saying, "We heard you say that you wanted an extension. We're going to do it for 2 more weeks." Those days are long gone. They're not coming back. We have such a rigid schedule we need to follow these days that we do not have the ability to extend any of these pre-orders. So this is coming. This is ending Sunday night at 11 p.m.
I wish you guys would do 2-week pre-orders now.
What's up?
I wish you guys would do 2-week pre-orders now.
How come?
So that Cornbuck could get on halfway
We
and
still
say
do
we're
that?
going to extend it. Because that was always fun. I was like, oh, it's so happy it's extended.
So I'm not sure about this comment saying, I think people like me discovering these recently don't want to spend on wave 3, but we haven't spent money on waves 1 and 2. Well, I think that's backwards thinking, because if you wait for waves 1 and 2 to come out and you buy them and you love them, then you now have to track down wave 3. And at the very least, you're going to have to pay the retailer prices, which are going to be, the all in on this is what, $335? If you get these from retailers for 200, I mean, you're probably looking at 4 and change to buy these from retailers as opposed to that $335. So, it's definitely something to think about. But everyone's going to make their own decisions. I'm excited for this wave. Obviously, I have to be excited, but no, I genuinely, I think people know that beyond my job, I'm still very, very much excited for these figures, and I'm excited for everything coming with Cosmic.
Yeah, me too.
I know a lot of people are anxious for news about Cosmic. Chris said on the afternoon show today that things are progressing very, very well and very, very quickly, but he doesn't want to give any concrete information until we have it to share. He doesn't want to overpromise. But I will tell you that good information is going to be coming very soon.
Seafair, like maybe a boat ride, I don't know, something like that, maybe
little cruise. So we, behind the scenes, we've been working very, very hard to finalize some things, to improve some processes, to shorten some of these pre-order windows. I will say that you're going to see a lot of stuff. You're going to see a lot of stuff happening in a pretty short amount of time. We're going to get, last year I said there was going to be that summer of shipping of product. I think that, some of these waves that people have been waiting for, Cosmic Legions, Poxus, we're going to be seeing a lot of these things that are going to be entering their final stages, hitting the water and getting into fans' hands.
Poxus. The forgotten wave. No one talks about Poxus.
Oh, people ask about it. I am so excited for the Poxus wave.
Poxus will always have. I'll always have I think that wave will always be attached to the first time I got to go to G-Con. So
yeah,
for me,
yeah,
that's
awesome.
What's
your favorite in that wave? Thrace?
I really, really like Thrace, but I think it's the Orc Shaman.
Oh yeah, Tharnog. Yeah, yeah. Obviously I love Poxus, and I like the Jin.
Yeah, I know you would say the Jin.
I love that Jin. That's the sleeper. I'm telling you.
He may be. Might be one of those ones. I mean, he's got a great color palette. He's super cool, but I'm just excited about getting my hands on the first full brute scale body, with some legs, because I just think the brute scale was such a cool addition.
I think the brute scale is going to be one of those. We've seen a little bit of that with the Centaur, with people doing customs and parts for it, the heads and so forth. But I feel like the floodgates are going to open when those brute scale figures arrive, because they're not that much different than 1.0. And there's going to be so much that with a little bit of upsizing and playing around is just going to work wonderfully. I think that that's going to be a shot in the arm for a lot of customizers.
It's going to be fun. I can't wait. I love size changes. So, you give me one, you could give me one in between brute and ogre, and I'd probably be like, yeah, that's cool.
So let's talk about Cosmic again for a minute.
All right.
With Cosmic on the way somewhat soon, have you thought about display issues yet?
Thinking about display issues so much lately.
Like, do you have an area empty for Cosmic, or do you have an area that you're ready to just wipe out to make room?
I'm thinking about building a shed. I really don't. I do not have an empty space right now. I've got big problems. I'm thinking about putting more shelves up, to get more things up on shelves. Because
when you say put shelves up, what do you mean by that?
On the wall shelves to put.
Okay, so like actually like hanging on the wall, like freestanding shelves. Okay.
Yes, my detolfs are full.
Yep.
I don't really have space to put more. I have one section, like, I can't put a detolf against the wall because the couch is there, but I can put shelves up behind the couch. And I might be removing some art that I have on the walls that I love, that I'm struggling with, to put shelves, to put figures. So I'm into the point where I can't have everything behind glass anymore. Because just the layout of the room that I have, and yeah, it's a struggle, and I'm really.
Brute scale Greg, Sir Exec says, get rid of that couch, Steve. That's what I did. I got no room for furniture.
Yeah, but my biggest TV is down in this room too, so that's the couch that I watch the TV on. I got to get rid of my TV.
Do you have another TV in the house?
Yeah, but it's upstairs, and my kids are always watching dumb stuff on
it. Sacrifices, man.
I can't watch The Bachelor.
Fair enough. I don't want to watch that either.
My wife watches that stuff, and so I have to have a place to go, and downstairs is that place. I'll figure it out. I will make the sacrifice. I will make the necessary adjustments, but some of them are hard.
So Joe Bassapolo is talking about that G-Con for Poxus, and he said that Poxus for him will always mean an hour and a half drive for pizza, which I don't 100% understand why, because there's literally a pizza place next door. So I don't remember, because I was on camera for G-Con, obviously. I don't remember Joe having to drive an hour and a half for pizza, but I don't doubt that happened. It seems like something that we would absolutely do. not go to the one that's next door and instead send Joe an hour and a half away.
Poxus will always remind me of the first time I met Joe.
Yeah. I met Joe at G-Con for the first time as well, but it was at the first one. It was at Soul Spiller.
I think it was the first time I met you in person.
Yeah, it was actually. I remember we did a manly embrace.
We did. Very masculine, but very tight.
Yes, that's exactly how I remember it. Yeah, that was great. You guys were very, very worried about COVID tests.
Oh, yes.
Remember, you were like, "Oh, if I came all this way and I fail a COVID test, this is."
Yes, that was stressful.
So it's interesting because Monday we closed the registrations for Intern for a Day this year. We had more people request to come to intern than we've ever had at any other year. That's not surprising, but we were talking about it today in our weekly studio meeting, and it's amazing to think that like the first Intern for a Day the studio ever did, they had 10 people that wanted to come. 10. Even the one that I went to, which was part of the Advent of Decay Kickstarter, I think there might have been like 17 people or something that were actually there as, interns that had chosen that reward. So you contrast that to quite literally hundreds of people who are requesting to get a shot to be selected for intern. And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing to think that it's grown the way it has and that it's become something that so many people want to be a part of.
Well, I can see that because, with Legion's Con now, a lot of people have made the trip to New Jersey. It's I think it feels, even to me, more tangible. I mean, to me, the studio used to feel like a fairy tale place that didn't really exist. In my mind, my what I thought it was versus what it is, it's still fantastic, but there aren't unicorns in there. And I thought there was going to be. I thought there was going to be like, this is where we keep the unicorns. And
they're in the back room with the dragon.
Yeah, so it definitely it's tangible. I mean, it's to a lot of people. They've been there. It's a real place. I honestly, what I thought, because I'm when I like the early days, it was part of a Kickstarter. The original one was a Kickstarter reward, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I went to.
I would have felt so weird at that time going there. That's before I met Cornboy or anybody from the studio. And flying there by myself, meeting these guys who I don't think really want to talk to me, and but now that I've met them, they're friendly, they're real people, it's a real place. It's just so much easier to go, hey, I want to do that now. At least that's how I see it.
And it's a ton of fun for us. Like, I mean, it's a ton of work. Like that whole Mythic weekend is just chaos. Because, the day before intern, we're preparing everything for intern and the rest of the weekend. And then as soon as the interns leave, we eat something very quickly, and then we've got to get ready for the next day. This past year, after everyone had left for intern, you guys came over to the studio after hours when the doors were locked and we let you guys in, and you got to hang out for a while and see us putting together all those prototypes, which was kind of a really fun behind the scenes type, little access there. But it's so much work for us. It's crazy, but it's so much fun. Like, we get so much out of the intern experience, welcoming everyone there and just being able to share all of this with that audience. And I think it's a little bit different now that people like Joe and myself are there because we are such big fans that we still see everything through fans' eyes.
Hmm.
But for, certainly for the owners of the company, they see it very, very differently. They've been living this for 25 years in one form or another. So I know for a fact that when they get to have that experience and kind of see everything that goes on through the fans' eyes for that day, it's very, very rewarding for them as well.
Yeah, I believe that. I felt like
Joe's comment, he says, it's like preparing a house for a holiday party that lasts 4 days and you see family you haven't seen since last year.
I could see that.
I love it.
No, I kind of think it's one of the reasons that like Cornboy or who that we likes to have like we were able to come in early and
Yep.
see stuff
Yep.
because he lights up watching everybody else light up.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
know, he sees us see it and get excited. He's that I think that gets him pumped.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that just taking the three owners of the company, Jim, Eric, and Cornboy, I think they all get something different out of it. Eric, to this day, Eric still he'll put out the most amazing things, but he still has that worry that it's not gonna get the reaction that, it's gonna be a swing and a miss. So when he sees people react to the work and they love it, it's confirmation. It's, that it is what he hoped it would be. It's, it quells some of those fears that, people aren't going to like it as much as he likes it. Because Eric very much is making toys he wants to make, that he wants to own. So when fans confirm that they want it too, that's very rewarding. Cornboy, like you said, I think Cornboy loves all of this stuff and he loves the community. He loves that sharing aspect. So when people come in and they're excited for it, he loves that. He really builds off of that. And in some way, I think Jim does as well. I think Jim just likes excitement. Jim just likes things happening. And when things are happening and people are excited, Jim likes to see people happy. He really does like to see people happy. And when he knows that they're happy because of something he has a hand in, that's even better.
That's cool. That's cool. Love it.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So anyone who applied for that, which is I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this either live or on replay, we are going to be pulling those names very, very soon and then reaching out to everybody to congratulate them, to let them know that they are part of this year's intern class. It's pretty cool.
That's really cool. It's unfortunately one of the things I don't know if I'll ever get to experience because of when it happens.
Yep.
And that, I for the foreseeable future will always be probably traveling with a group who can't get there on that day, But maybe someday something will happen.
I'll be honest, I don't know if it would hit for you the same way that it hits for most people. Because I think for a lot of people, if it's your first time, it's very, very different. The first time you are there, it's just an overwhelming experience in the best way possible. Because you are such a studio friend, you've been there a number of times already. You've been behind the scenes. You've seen how the sausage is made. I don't know if you would get. I think you'd enjoy it, but but I think you'd enjoy just being at the studio and hanging out and talking to people.
Yeah.
I've seen people come to because some of the people. If you're a past winner, we don't exclude you. You can sign up again. And some of the people last year who came had come the year before. So they're repeats. I see a lot of the repeat people not doing the whole workshop stuff, because Eric's sculpting workshop is unique every time he does it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to sit through that one. But the other ones, Nate will be working on a different piece of art. Cameron and Sherry will have different pieces on their table, but they're going to talk about painting. Nate's going to talk about art. Trevor's going to talk about photography. If you've heard him talk about it before,
yeah,
some people are like, you know what? I just want to go hang out. And you'll see a lot of those return attendees that will just be kind of milling about, just taking it all in and just talking to everybody because we're all hanging around. There's a number of us, Bill, Joe, myself, George, Chris, Cornboy. None of us actually have any sessions that we're doing. I'm running around playing traffic cop, but everybody else is just hanging around talking to people. So you get a lot of people that will just be milling about and having conversations with us. Last year, I pulled out a whole bunch of cosmic test shots and we're letting people play with them and stuff. So I don't know if it would hit the same for you. You'd have a blast, but I think it would be a different experience than some.
Probably would. I probably missed my chance to have the magic.
But you got a different experience.
Oh, I'm not. I'm so happy that I'm able to be close to the studio to some regard, and hey man, I'm living the life.
It's gonna be exciting. So intern on Thursday the 9th, this year's G-Con on the 10th, and then obviously we've got Legions Con on the 11th and 12th. Now, before we get to Mythic Weekend, the next time I'm going to see you is a few months before that because we are going to be together in Columbus, Ohio at PowerCon.
We are. I'm excited for PowerCon. PowerCon's a good show.
It is. I think it's so. Last year was my first one, and I loved it. All the buzz I'm hearing is this year is going to be even bigger and better.
I mean, just judging on what they're offering as far as the exclusives that are out there, the amount of companies that are on board, it's gotta. There's no way it can't be bigger and badder. Yeah. So yeah, if it's a great show to see the Horsemen at. You guys, if I remember right, sold a ton of product very quickly last year. I don't know. You think you're going to have more this year, or don't?
We're doing everything we can to bring more stuff with us to PowerCon.
It was a great display last year. What you guys had, just the cool stuff that you had up, like the skateboard, and there was just some neat little knickknacks that you had going on there, and it was a really good display.
We've got some exciting stuff up our sleeves for this year. I think people are going to be pretty happy.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. What's funny about PowerCon is PowerCon's a bigger show than Legions Con, right?
Yes.
Pound for pound, it's bigger. But PowerCon is not only Legions. PowerCon, obviously PowerCon's pedigree is all around Masters of the Universe. Even though it's diversified these days, still has a very large Masters of the Universe presence. And then there's a lot of other companies and a lot of other kinds of toys that are going to be there. So I find it interesting that even though it's larger than Legions Con, so many people in the Legions community kind of refer to PowerCon as like the Legions Con pregame. Like it's like, that's like the appetizer. Like you get started at PowerCon. It's a great way to get primed and pumped for the main event, which is Legions Con a few months later. It's interesting that that's a lot of the mentality because, like I said, PowerCon being a bigger show. But if you're just focusing on the Legions, I guess that I can understand that. If nothing else, the community, the fact that at PowerCon, there was a group of us that were hanging out and partying every night. At Legions Con, that group grew much, much larger every single night.
Yeah. It's funny, having been to the PowerCons before in California, the studio always had a huge presence there. There was always a lot of interest in the Four Horsemen area where they're set up. And I do feel that they really pull. They are definitely an anchor for PowerCon.
Yeah.
And that's what's, it is what you say. You go there and it's like, man, this is like, yeah, there's a lot of people here. You're going to see a lot of friendly faces. You're going to see, Nate's there.
Yep.
Selling, he had a booth selling his art. It's really, really cool. If you're
It's interesting though that most of the years in the past, I mean, the Horsemen always had some, they always had the PowerCon debuts there, but before last year, they never brought other product. They flew in a very small number of those PowerCon debuts, and that was it.
Yep.
Last year, because it was at a location that we could realistically drive to, we brought all that product. I feel like, from what I've been told, that at PowerCon in past years, they were always like, they were there. Oh, they make those Mythic Legions, but they were there because of their association with Masters of the Universe. The panels they did and all that stuff were very Masters of the Universe focused. And it felt like last year was the year that shifted, where there were some people that came up and asked them to sign some Masters Classics figures and stuff. But our presence there last year was Legions. Like, the people that were there to see us were there because of Mythic Legions.
Like, they're stepping out of Classic shadow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
it's incredible.
Yeah. And I mean, Classics is what brought a lot of us to knowing who the Horsemen even are. So, yeah. Still cool. I still love my Classics.
Oh yeah, even as someone who's not as deep into Motu as you, I've long said that 2000X is my favorite, but I can readily admit that Classics are better toys. Classics are by far better figures and better toys. I happen to like the designs of 2000X, and I already had a whole bunch of them, so it's easy for me to say, like, well, that's my collection. I don't want to reinvest in Classics.
Yeah. Probably
especially now.
Yeah, now is not the time. Now is not the time.
At all. So, a lot of good stuff coming up. The last few minutes we have here. Anything else that you're excited about? Anything else going on that you want to talk about or cover tonight?
Not really. I mean, we've got some cool stuff coming from Wolf King.
Yep.
So I'm excited to get a few more parts out there and see my friends get a few more parts out there, see people using them, because that's always the best part, is when you get to see pictures of people using this stuff.
Absolutely.
Doing what they want. So yeah, we're still plugging away. I'm still having fun.
I have on my workbench right now, I have one of your pieces, actually.
You do?
Yeah, the I can't remember his name. The dwarf with the single eye.
The dwarf with the single eye.
Tudor long pocket?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
That's one you sculpted, right?
I did not sculpt it. I designed it.
You designed it. Okay, I am mistaken. So you drew that one, and yes. Who sculpted that one?
Gia Art.
For some reason, I thought that was one of your sculptures.
I did the wildling dwarf, the one with the crazy beard.
The Old Man Kyle one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's my sculpt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I have a sculpture of something you've sketched on my... I'm trying to finish it. So because this year at Legions Con, my entire display is going to be tribute figures.
Okay.
Last year I did all the critters, and I really tried to approach the display not as just like the first year that I displayed the first 2 years at Legions Con, I just brought a mix of stuff. Mm-hmm. Okay, which figures do people want to see? Which are my popular ones? Which are my new ones? Last year was the first time that I tried to approach the display more as almost like a museum exhibit. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, okay, if I was curating an exhibit for a period of time, what would I want to show? So last year was all critters. It was really a retrospective of the work that Walter DeMarco, Len, and myself had done. So this year I decided, you know what? I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to do a bunch of tribute customs. I have a bunch. I'm doing some others. So I'm actually turning that head into a tribute.
Nice. I can't wait to
I'm
see it.
I'm making him Mad Eye Moody.
Oh, that's perfect then.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is super perfect. Um yeah, there's it. How do you find the time? I don't get it.
I've slowed down a lot, to be honest with you. I've been partially because of time, but also I've lost a little bit of I've my creative outlet has changed a little bit these days. So I'm finding that I have less spark to do the customs, and that's not a knock. That's not unexpected or anything like that. Um, but there was a point that I was painting every single day.
Mm-hmm.
A day wouldn't go by. I was waking up early. I was hitting the workstation, and I was painting and stuff. I'm doing less of that these days. So I guess I used to force myself to be creative, and now I'm waiting to be inspired a little bit more.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Your job is giving you a little bit more of a creative outlet, and
absolutely, and that's not bad at all.
no,
Being able to pour some of my creativity into the writing that I get to do, the little bit of work that I get to do, on the line, and certainly with Legion's configures and stuff like that. That feeds some of that, but they're still there. There are times where I get a spark, and I'll rattle off like 5 or 6 customs right in a row. So it still happens.
yeah, I'm sure that's healthy.
Same with you, right?
Well, I mean, I still got my day job where I, look at
Yep.
papers and numbers and things.
So this is still This is still a distraction for you.
For sure. When I get home, this is when I want to, have that outlet. Is usually in my evenings.
Yeah.
So when I ignore my family because my priorities are correct.
What's your favorite thing you've painted lately?
My favorite thing I painted lately is a new head that I haven't. I showed it on my Instagram, but it's a one I sculpted. It'll be, if I don't have it around here, it's out in the photo.
It's got a name like the Angry or something.
The anger.
The
Yeah,
Anger.
the gritted teeth guy.
Yeah.
He looks angry, and yeah, I painted that, and I was pretty happy with it. I thought that
That's
was
nice.
fun. But I can't wait. I really kind of sculpted that, and you can see this at Steve's Art and Toys. That's my Instagram handle if you want to look at them. But or maybe I didn't put them on Instagram. Maybe I put it in the Wolf Den. I think I put it in the Wolf Den.
I know I saw it because
Yeah.
I obviously just said so. It might have been the Wolf. Den,
Wolf
which
Den's
is-
a full Facebook group you can go to, become a member. It's a good place for customs and stuff. But I was thinking cosmic with that. I was thinking
really?
one of them big machine guns.
Oh yeah, okay.
He's shooting a big machine gun, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, because I know people are going to want to put human heads on cosmics,
Oh yeah.
and you could paint that head a different color, and he's an alien. So,
Yeah, I mean that's one of the great things about Cosmic is, if you want your Space Marines, Cosmic is not Space Marines. If you want a Space Marine, you can put that, unhelmeted Attila head, or this custom head, the Anger, or these other heads from Wolf King or whatever. You can paint those up, put those on those figures, and they're going to work great. They're going to work wonderfully well.
yeah, sure, it's going to be fun.
Very
A lot of
cool.
people are going to do it. I'm probably going to be one of them.
I'm excited to see what people are going to come out with for Cosmic. I think people need to see these in hand in order to really get a sense of what they want to do. I have some thoughts of where I'm going with some custom parts. I have some custom parts that are in development for Cosmic. I feel like so far I'm seeing a lot of big-eyed aliens, so as a designer, I always loved for years when I worked on web design, I worked for a company that we would do, for every project, we'd have to do 3 web designs. And there would always be one that was super obvious, one that was pretty similar, like a real evolution of where they were, and then one that was just a dark horse, totally left field. I always did the dark horse ones every single time. I love doing that. I love looking at it and saying, okay, because to me, design is a puzzle. I've always loved looking at it and saying, okay, what's the obvious way to put together the puzzle? Okay, that's not what I'm going to do. I want to do something different. So I'm seeing everyone doing these big-eyed aliens, and my first impression is I'm not doing big-eyed aliens. I don't want to go there. I feel like that's where a lot of people are going. So what can I do instead? So it'll be interesting to see what comes out.
It will. It's going to be fun. It'll be a fun ride.
Steven, thank you for saving my show this evening. I had no idea what to do, and I look at the clock, and we've just done 90 minutes.
We did pretty easily. So, no, thanks for inviting me. I always like coming on. It's always a fun time.
Thank you so much. For all the questions I didn't get to this evening, I'll try to get to them in subsequent weeks. Hold on to those. As I said, a lot of great stuff coming. Mythic Legions Tactics shipping right now. Cosmic Legions Outpost Zaxius. That pre-order ends this coming Sunday at 11 p.m. That is at storehorseman.com. If you haven't pre-ordered those already, make sure you get over there and do that. And, of course, I will be back here next week. Same Mythic time, same Mythic channel. Unfortunately, I don't think Lord Steven will be with me, but who knows? Steven, you have a good night. I'll talk to you soon.
You too. Bye, everybody.
Actually, but Steven, don't actually leave, because we're going to continue talking after we get rid of all these other people, okay?
Sounds good.